Embarking on a cruise is not just a journey, it's a floating adventure filled with luxurious amenities and amazing experiences. From diving simulators to underwater lounges, these cruise ships offer passengers an unparalleled and unforgettable experience. Join me, I'm counting down the top 15 most over-the-top cruise ship amenities. Starting with number 15, the North Star. Found on the Royal Caribbean ships Anthem of the Seas, Quantum of the Seas, and Ovation of the Seas, the North Star is like a small London Eye that just so happens to be sailing across the ocean. In fact, if you had to describe the North Star to someone without the visual aids we have here, then describing it as a capsule from the London Eye would be a good way to go. The small enclosed glass sphere is attached to a giant mechanical arm that lifts the pod up and down and over the side of the ship, at which point the difference between this and one of London's most famous landmarks becomes markedly different. Like a cross between a modern Ferris wheel and a ski resort gondola ride, the North Star moves slowly. But if you're at all squeamish about heights, then you might encounter a case of sweaty palms, as the arm rises about 300 feet above sea level. The ride lasts for about 15 to 20 minutes and can accommodate up to 14 passengers and one operator, of course, including one person in a wheelchair per ride. Photographers obviously love the vistas, despite only being able to shoot through the glass walls of the capsule. And if you're not interested in the impressive scenery at all, then don't forget to bring your phone, as Royal Caribbean's VOOM Wi-Fi is fully accessible within the pod. While in port, there are restrictions on how far the pod can extend over the side of the ship, so if you really want to experience the full range of the North Star, then you need to take a ride on a sea day. Well, as long as it's a nice sea day. Crew members will shut down the North Star or limit its range of movement during rough seas and bad weather, so it's probably worth checking the weather forecast before you book. Man, that goes double if you're planning to book it for a proposal or wedding ceremony, which is a surprisingly common thing. Number 14. GoKarts. If you're taking a trip on the Norwegian Bliss, the Norwegian Joy, or Norwegian Encore cruise ships and feel the need for speed, then you can burn rubber at the go-kart racetrack. The two-level track is designed for speed, and drivers take full advantage, zipping around the S-shaped track at a top speed on these electric-powered race cars. No more than 10 cars can be on the track at once, and while drivers race around the curves trying to pass each other, there is no official race happening. You can drive at your own speed, but no more than 30 miles an hour. The karts are easy to operate. There's a green pedal underneath the right foot for gas, a red pedal beneath your left for the brake, and a green button on the steering wheel that boosts a car's power, and a blue button for reversing. Drivers are instructed to hold their hands in the 10 and 2 o'clock positions, told that all turns should be hard turns, and beyond that it's just a matter of trying to follow the track and being aware of other drivers. Although these are very definitively not bumper cars, bumps are hard to avoid, despite not being technically allowed. But still, fast drivers often end up rear-ending slow drivers or clipping the other fast drivers, which is probably why helmets are required and everyone's given a clean open-face ski mask to wear beneath their helmet. If you're not planning on taking advantage of the go-karts, however, but are worried that the presence of the track might affect the peace and quiet of your cruising experience, then don't worry. The race cars are electric, so there's very little sound from the racetrack. But the noise of a speeding race car is piped into your helmet to give the drivers the full sense of being on a real racetrack. Number 13. Skydiving. If you wanted to go skydiving, then a plane would be the first form of transportation that might jump to your mind, not a cruise ship. Well, and fair enough, you can't actually jump off a cruise ship with a parachute on your back, but you can try a skydiving simulator, thanks to Royal Caribbean's partnership with Ripcord by iFly, available on Anthem of the Seas and other Quantum-class ships. Ripcord by iFly is a skydiving simulation experience in which participants don flight suits and goggles and get to fly in a wind machine. Aided by an experienced instructor, flights last 60 seconds, though the entire process from training to suiting up and taking turns skydiving can last up to 2 hours. It is a strange thing, but people who would usually balk at the idea of throwing themselves out of the door of an aircraft seem to be quite happy flying around in a wind tunnel a few feet off the ground, with an instructor ready to catch them if they fall. And the kind of people who take these cruises are clearly no exception because it's proven to be a seriously popular amenity. Not least because it's free for every passenger to try at least once. Sessions are done in small groups of 10 or so people and begin by watching instructional videos on hand signals in proper form. Following that, it's time to suit up, put on your tight-fitting goggles and helmets, and enter that glassed-in cage attached to the tall glass tube which acts as your flight zone. At the end of each session, and after the photographer outside has captured your clumsy attempts at flying, for posterity of course, the instructors up the wind speed and do a bit of showboating themselves. Backflips, twisty turns, huge jumps and dives, all the things guaranteed to make you look like a complete amateur. Number 12. Robotic bartenders. Has AI not freaked you out enough yet? Then why not go on a cruise that has robotic bartenders? The Bionic Bar and its robot bartenders are found on the cruise ships Anthem, Quantum, Ovation, Harmony, and Symphony of the Seas. So there's clearly no lack of employment opportunities if you're in the robotic bartender job market. The Bionic Bar is a cruise ship watering hole that's straight out of the Jetsons. Hundreds of bottles of booze hang upside down from a frosted bar, which is manned by 2 robotic arms. Now, these robot bartenders mix and shake cocktails and mocktails and then slide the finished drinks down a long slot to waiting human hands. Thirsty passengers use tablets to order mixed drinks, and you can choose from the bar's menu or create your own with the ingredients on hand. Electronic boards display the list of passengers in the queue for drinks, fun stats about passenger orders, and a play-by-play of the drink currently being made, such as which drink is being concocted, the ingredient currently being added, and the number of steps left until completion. Human assistants also man the area to help technologically challenged patrons and clean up any spills, but they tend to keep to a low profile and let the robots do most of the work. All of Royal Caribbean's Bionic bars feature quasi-futuristic decor with lots of white and silver. The spaces are quite open, the idea being that passers-by will spot the robot bartenders and wander over, intrigued, and order an impromptu drink. However, the Bionic bars on Quantum-class ships are practically in a main thoroughfare, while Harmony of the Seas has a more of a dedicated space off the atrium. Number 11. The Seawalk. We all love a good view, right? And a panoramic view is even better. And if you've taken the time and the expense to book a cruise, then I can only assume that you're the kind of person that specifically enjoys sea views. After all, most modern cruise ships are marvels of engineering that leave cruisers in awe. But for many passengers, the sea itself has a thrilling allure of its own. That explains why many new vessels have incorporated breathtaking ocean views via lounges and suites with panoramic windows, outdoor dining and entertainment areas, see-through water slides, and even glass-walled pods that rise high above the uppermost decks. According to the laundry list of ocean-centric features is the Seawalk on Princess Cruises. The Seawalk is a 60-foot-long enclosed glass hallway that juts out over the side of the ship, allowing those walking on it to watch the ocean glide by 128 feet below them. On ships that have it, it's located on Deck 17 starboard, although it can be difficult to get decent ocean views after the sun goes down. Seawalk is open 24/7. Despite the fact that it's enclosed, you might want to avoid it if you got a fear of heights. On the other hand, it's completely free, so you may want to balance your fear of heights with your love for finding a bargain. Number 10. Planetarium. Stargazing is one of the oldest pastimes, and what's great about it is that on a clear night, you don't even need special equipment to do it. Few places afford a less polluted opportunity to gaze than ships at sea, but even in optimal conditions, it helps to know what you're looking at. That's where Cunard's Queen Mary II Planetarium Illuminations can help. It's an auditorium that doubles as a venue for enrichment lectures by guest speakers. Overhead in the center of the room is a dome-like screen, where each planetarium show is projected. Seats that offer ideal views of the shows are upholstered in red so passengers know exactly where to sit. There are various shows including Stars Over the Atlantic and Tour of the Night Sky, and even if you aren't necessarily interested in outer space, the dark room and accompanying light show and narration are soothing enough to allow for a midday catnap. Planetarium shows are offered nearly every day, with 2 or 3 time slots available. The presentations are free to attend, but passengers need to obtain tickets on a first-come, first-served basis. If you're unable to get a ticket, it's wise to show up at Illuminations anyway, as there are often a couple of no-shows, so there's a good chance you'll be accommodated. In other words, just like the universe, there's generally a lot of empty space in the Illuminations Planetarium show. Number 9. Water parks. What do you need when you're surrounded by water on all sides? Well, even more water, of course. But hey, who can turn down the chance to go to a water park? Offering the largest fleet of water parks at sea by far, Carnival Cruise Line is known for keeping things fun and light, even while drenched head to toe. Each Carnival cruise ship features at least one spiraling water slide, but more than half have a version of Carnival's more extravagant water parks, Aqua Park, which includes at minimum of a 300-foot slide and side-by-side racing slides, among other water features. The newest water parks are on Carnival's newest cruise ships, Mardi Gras and Carnival Celebration, both of which feature a pair of see-through spiral racing slides. Blue Lightning and Orange Thunder, plus the line's signature Twister water slide. Add in a giant dumping bucket and an enormous splash space and you've got a floating paradise for water park lovers. Plus, all that wet fun is topped off on both vessels with the addition of Bolt by the only roller coaster at sea. Carnival Breeze, Carnival Magic, and Carnival Dream offer Twister and Drain Pipe, a 104-foot tube that empties into a giant funnel. Carnival Breeze and Magic have also Power Drencher, tipping buckets, mini racers, and splasher parks. The Waterworks area onboard Carnival Sunshine edges out the other slides with a 330-foot-long Twister water slide, twin 235-foot-long slides that are part of Speedway's Splash, mini racers, a splash park, power drencher, and a total of 40 interactive water features. Carnival Vista and Panorama, meanwhile, feature an enclosed water tube Kaleido slide, which riders make their way around 455 feet of twists and turns, one- or two-person rafts. And if all that weren't dizzying enough, the Kaleido slide actually looks like a kaleidoscope with colorful rotating lights and trippy visual effects. Carnival Horizon features the cruise line's only Dr. Seuss-themed waterworks with a striped cat-in-a-hat slide, a polka-dotted Fun Things slide featuring special effects, and of course, buckets, mini racers, and a splash area. What more does a water lover need? Number 8. Snow Grottos. Are you finding your cruise a little too warm and comfortable? Well, this is the cruise ship amenity for you. The Snow Grotto is part of the thermal suite on all Viking cruise ships. The concept is based on the Scandinavian bathing ritual, which involves alternating hot and cold therapies. Apparently, the process will leave you invigorated and improve your circulation, among other benefits. But most people would need more than that to venture into here. The Snow Grotto is basically a small, glass-enclosed room filled with man-made snow, and, of course, the freezing room temperature prevents the snow from melting. Visitors to this completely free feature are first encouraged to suit up in a bathing suit and slippers, use the steam sauna, and then follow this with 5 minutes in the Snow Grotto, and then repeat the process all over again and again and again. People have reported feeling great after this experience, more alert, awake, and energized, and that feeling apparently lasts for a couple of hours. The newest Norwegian cruise ship lines, Escape and Encore, also have similar snow rooms in their spas. And if you are a fan of the cold, there's also the Svedka Ice Bar on select Norwegian cruise ships, where the room is kept at a frosty 15 degrees Fahrenheit to maintain everything inside the bar. The walls, glasses, seats, and sculptures are all made of ice. Moving on to number 7. Escape rooms. If there's one way to test the strength of your friendship or the unrequited love you feel for your family, then it's to lock yourselves in an escape room together. It is a surefire way to improve or destroy any vacation. If you're not already aware, escape rooms are interactive experiences in which people are trapped in a room for a set period of time and can only escape by solving a series of puzzles. And cruise ships now have a wide variety of them on offer. There's the Escape the Rubicon puzzle break on Harmony of the Seas and Symphony of the Seas, Escape from the Future on Anthem of the Seas and Ovation of the Seas, Apollo 18 on Oasis of the Seas and the Allure of the Seas, and the Observatorium on Independent Seas, Mariner of the Seas, and Navigator of the Seas. Escape the Big Top on Norwegian Escape, Norwegian Breakaway, Norwegian Getaway, and Norwegian Epic, Spanish Galleon on Norwegian Encore, and finally, Phantom Bridge on Sky Princess and Enchanted Princess. From space adventures to sci-fi puzzles to circuses, pirates, and ghost-themed escape rooms, there really is something here for everyone. Well, unless you're claustrophobic. Number 6. Magic Carpet. No, sadly, this isn't the thing out of a Disney film that you might be imagining. Though it looks like a massive bright orange elevator, the Magic Carpet is not something cruisers can ride from one level of the ship to another. Instead, it's a 90-ton piece of movable deck that can be used in different spots on the ship for different purposes at different times of the day. Originally imagined specifically as a platform for getting onto and off tenders, the Magic Carpet concept expanded to include 4 functionalities. When stationed on Deck 2, the Magic Carpet serves as a water-level thoroughfare for passengers to easily board and disembark the tender boats needed at ports, where Celebrity Edge is unable to dock. Cruisers can simply walk through the Magic Carpet and into the tender without the need for ramps or stairs. When not needed for tendering, the Magic Carpet can be stationed on Deck 5, Deck 14, or Deck 16. On Deck 5, the Magic Carpet will be used as an alfresco extension of the extra-fee Raw Bar Raw on 5, with room for up to 100 diners. Later in the day, when stationed at Deck 14, its sophisticated bar and seating options will shine as it serves as a location for happy hours and late-night parties. At selected times, the Magic Carpet will be situated at its highest point, Deck 16, and used alternatively for exclusive dinners or high teas. Not quite the same as Aladdin's Magic Carpet, but still, it's pretty impressive. Number 5. Unique restaurants. Well, of course we're going to include this in our list because some restaurants are just, well, amazing. Few restaurant experiences are as special, for example, as walking into Animator's Palette on a Disney cruise, where the walls become alive with Disney artwork over the course of your meal. Dinner shows expand upon this multi-sensory experience on select Disney sailings of magic, wonder, and fantasy. Artwork that you draw becomes part of the show. While on Disney Dream and Fantasy, you can also have a dinner-time chat with an animated Crush the Turtle from Finding Nemo, although please don't try to eat him afterwards. On select Royal Caribbean ships, Wonderland Restaurant is an Alice in Wonderland-inspired journey, complete with decor straight out of the rabbit hole and waiters dressed as Mad Hatters. The menu ink disappears and reappears at a stroke of a magical paintbrush, and with each course it arrives with unexpected flavors, textures, and even smoke. Another whimsical dining experience aided by mind-blowing technology takes place at Celebrity's Le Petit Chef specialty dining experience, where a 3D projected tiny chef creates each course while the cruisers watch, and then enjoy the real-life meal presented to them. So, it's not just about the food, it's all about the experience. Number 4. Sky Ride. Carnival Cruise Line's Sky Ride, created by the same person who invented rollerblades, is essentially a recumbent bike suspended from an 800-foot dual racing track 150 feet above the 12th deck. Riders can either choose to race the cruiser and the bikes across from them or go at a more leisurely pace to take in the 360-degree views. Speed enthusiasts will want to pedal hard, as you can get up to 18 miles an hour if you push it. Skyride is currently available on Carnival Horizon, Panorama, and Vista, and it's one of the most popular amenities on their cruise lines. In fact, you can expect to wait in line for as long as 30 to 45 minutes, so you may want to wait for a port day when a lot of people are back on dry land. There are 4 Skyride bikes. 2 riders can be on the track at the same time, and while these 2 bikes are on the track, the next 2 cruisers step into a harness and get hooked onto their bikes so they can pedal off once the first 2 bikers return. It only takes about a minute and a half to finish, and of course, the faster you pedal, the faster it's over. Fun, adrenaline pumping, and if you don't mind looking at things at high speed, then there's even some nice scenery to check out. Oh, and by the way, it's free. Number 3. Bumper Cars. Earlier I mentioned how the go-karts on cruise ships are definitely not meant to be used as bumper cars, but luckily there's one thing you can use as bumper cars, and that's bumper cars. Royal Caribbean introduced bumper cars on the Quantum of the Seas in 2014. When they designed that ship, they removed the popular Studio B ice skating rink and instead put in a large, multi-story indoor sports complex called Seaplex. This place was designed to be the home for various activities like roller skating, basketball, pickleball, and dancing. But why bumper cars? Well, bumper cars have always been a staple of local amusement parks, first debuting in 1920. They've entertained the public for over 100 years. Both the young and the young at heart enjoy the feeling of ramming into a loved one's car at top speed and sending them flying. It'd be a great one-of-a-kind attraction on a cruise ship. Experienced riders, i.e. those born before the year 1990, will remember the smell of burnt metal in the air and the sound of metal dragging when they first rode. The first bumper cars used an overhead system where poles on each car would touch a metal mesh ceiling above to provide power. As the cars drove around, sparks would fly as dust would oxidize. Then bumper cars evolved with a new system for power called floor pickup, or FPU. First patented in 1974, this system got power directly from the floor. It got rid of the poles and the need to have a fully powered ceiling across the whole arena. It also provided a much quieter experience since there was no metal dragging across the ceiling. Neither of these solutions would work well on a cruise ship, though. Both options required a large amount of space with a powered floor, or ceiling, that would only be able to be used by bumper cars. So when Royal Caribbean went to add this attraction to a cruise ship, they went with another method: battery power. With battery-powered cars, there was no need to run high-voltage systems across the floor or ceiling. They could easily store the cars away when not in use, so the space could be utilized for activities like basketball and roller skating. This design choice was a win-win situation. Number 2. Flow Rider. If you fancy a spot of surfing, but don't fancy throwing yourself over the side of the ship, then this next entry on this list is for you. Flow Rider is a surf simulator that allows participants to bodyboard or boogie board, or what they call flow board, even if they're nowhere near the ocean. Royal Caribbean has the simulators on several of its ships, meaning that you're near the ocean, but you're surfing many stories above it rather than in it. The simulator comprises a wedge-shaped area that's covered in thin padding, similar to a wrestling mat. Powerful jets spray a continuous stream of water over the surface, which is where passengers can hang 10. There are set chunks of time scheduled for boogie boarding only and surfing only, and sometimes the area is separated into two sections. No more than one person is able to use a section at one time. A team of crew members, usually 2 people, assists novices with stepping into the simulator and onto their boards. After waiting in line, prospective surfers step onto their boards with the assistance of a member of the staff, listen to their pointers, and then immediately start saying words like "dude," "wipe out," and "gnarly" as they struggle to keep it upright. It's free to anyone who meets their height requirements, and it's willing to try it. For those interested in improving their skills with instruction from the ship's sports staff, group lessons are offered, and skilled passengers can book the entire simulator for exclusive use by their party for an allotted period of time. Number 1. Bolt. Well, what else do I need to say about this? The final entry on our list. It's a roller coaster on a ship. Created by a roller coaster designer in Munich, Bolt, the ultimate sea coaster, debuted in July of 2021 on Mardi Gras, the first of Carnival's XL-class ships. The first roller coaster at sea doesn't look like a typical one that you'll find at a theme park. Instead of sitting down inside of a cart, you're astride a 2-person car, similar to a motorcycle. Don't worry, you're still strapped in very tightly with a metal seatbelt that's checked, double-checked, and triple-checked before you take off. The electric track starts on the top deck, near the back of the ship, and winds its way around the funnel. You can go up to 37 miles an hour, some of which you can control by yourself by pulling back on the right handlebar or by pushing a boost button on the left handlebar. There's a digital speedometer that you can watch, but you're likely going to be too busy screaming or checking out the sky-high sea views as you barrel your way around the track. You are allowed to ride Bolt either by yourself or as a twosome, but whichever option you choose, you'll want to make sure that you're dressed appropriately for Bolt. You must wear shorts or capris, no sundresses allowed, and have closed-toe shoes. Be aware that the ship is expressly forbidding GoPros, phones, or other cameras being worn while you ride. Because if something were to drop from the track, it could not only damage the roller coaster, but seriously hurt another cruiser. Mercifully, the staff is not allowed to take photos of you, and while the line said that they're thinking of installing a camera that snaps action shots, nothing is currently operational. What a shame that nobody can see you screaming or throwing up a little, or doing both at the same time. I'll see you guys next time.
Watch our Waves playlist for more top 15 videos about massive waves. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best wave videos.
Thank you to our channel members.